Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 1, Chapter 13.2 Notes. Today we're talking about basic probability and odds. Our learning target today is to be able to calculate the basic probability and odds of an event happening. So, let's go ahead and get started. Probability tells us how likely it is that an event will happen. You see probability a lot, especially if you watch sports. Now, when you see this, it is always written as a reduced fraction or decimal. And if it's written as a decimal, it's always rounded to the second decimal, the hundredth spot. Okay? And as we talk about probability, if it's 0 or a lower decimal, it's impossible or not very likely. If it's right at 50%, it's likely to happen half of the time. 0.75, that's very likely. And if it's a 1, it always happens every single time. Okay? And basic probability is calculated as P equals the quantity of wanted events over the quantity of total possible events. Okay? Oop, I put that in the wrong spot. So the quantity of wanted events over the quantity of total possible events. Alright, let's use the spinner to find the following probabilities. The first thing that we're always going to do is we're going to write down all the different options we can have. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So what is the probability that the spinner stops on the 3? So remember that probability equals your wanted events over the total. Okay? So P equals, well, let's see. There's only 1, 3, right? Okay. So 1, 3, that's, well, only one chance for that happening. Out of a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So the probability that happening is 1/8. Okay. And now if you do that as a decimal, you get 0.125. And remember, the squigglies means we're going to round it because it needs to go to 2 decimals. Okay? So when we do this, we look at the 5. 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. Okay? So B. B is saying, what is the probability that the spinner stops on a multiple of 2? So just remember that it's your wanted over your unwanted. The multiples are 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? So the P equals your wanted, which is 4 possible outcomes, out of a total of 8. And when you divide 4 divided by 8, what do you get? You should get 0.5. Okay, and that means that it's likely to happen half of the time. Okay, for 0.13, is that likely to happen? Not so much. Okay, number C. Remember that we always want the wanted over the unwanted, or wanted over the total. So what is the probability that the spinner stops on a number greater than 3? Now, is 3 greater than 3? No. But 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are. So, how many numbers is that? Well, it's a total of 5 numbers that are greater than 3 out of 8. And when you divide that out, what do you get? Did you get 0.625? And when you round that, you get 0.63. what is the probability that the spinner stops on a multiple of 3? Okay, so remember, put your wanted over your total. Now the multiples of 3, 3, 6, oh, 9's not one of them. Okay, so there's only 2, and it's out of 8. So remember, oh, I forgot this in letter B, but you always want to reduce. Okay, when we reduce this fraction right here, that was 1/2. So when we reduce this, what do we get? 2 over 8 is the same thing as 1/4. And when you divide that, you get 0.25. All right. E. What is the probability that the spinner stops on a number less than or equal to 8? Less than or equal. Is 8 included in that? It sure is. So less than or equal, that's actually all of the numbers. Okay? So when you're doing our probability over our wanted, which is 8, over our total, which is 8, we reduce the fraction to 1. Okay, and if it's just 1, we talked that that is always going to happen every single time. Okay, what is the probability that the spinner stops on a number greater than 9? Well, what numbers are greater than 9 that's on the spinner? There aren't any. Okay, so it'd be 0 over 8, and when we do that, it's 0. And is that ever going to happen? No. It's, ooh, excuse me, sorry. It's never going to happen. Okay? All right, and that is because there is no number that is greater than 9. So it's never going to happen. All right, while at the carnival, Nick won a dart tossing game. The prizes he could win are on the wheel below. Calculate the following probabilities. Okay, so whenever we're writing the probability, you're always going to see P and then what we're looking for. Okay, we could have gone back and wrote that, say, hey, we're looking for the probability of a number that's greater than 9, or a probability of a number that is less than or equal to 8. Okay, that's how we would have written that. So remember that when we're doing this, that's your wanted over your total. And when we figure out the total, all we gotta do is count these. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so the total for all of these is going to be 7. Now, let's take a look. How many cotton candies are on here? I only see that guy right there. Okay, so the probability of getting a cotton candy is going to be 1 out of 7. Okay, and we can't reduce that. And when you divide that on the calculator, let's take a look. 1 divided by 7 gives us a total of, 2. Does the 2 tell us to go up or to stay? It tells us to stay. Okay, so the probability of getting an ice cream, we already know that the total is 7. Let's figure it out. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ice creams. We can't reduce that. So 4 divided by 7, 5.71, which is 0.57. Okay, and now what's the probability of getting anything besides ice cream? So he doesn't want ice cream. Okay, well, he can get popcorn, cotton candy, or popcorn. So how many is that? That is 3. Can you reduce that? Nope. And so 3 divided by 7 gives us a total of 0.4 what? Okay, it's 4.3 because that 8 tells us that we need to go up. Okay? All right, let's go. I'm sorry, go ahead and flip it over. And I've already got some of those definitions written down for you. Now, odds in favor and odds are against are just a little bit different, okay? Odds in favor is a ratio of your favorable or your wanted events to unfavorable or your unwanted events, okay? And now the way that we write that would be the odds in favor equals, okay, on the top, we would put the quantity of wanted events. Okay, so those always go on the top. And then on the bottom, we would put the quantity of unwanted events. Okay, so of your wanted over your unwanted. Okay, and now the opposite of that would be odds against. It's going to be the exact opposite. Okay, we can just take this down here. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to copy it. Sorry. Copy and paste. I'm sorry, guys. I bet you wish you could do that too. However, this is going to go on the bottom, and that's going to go on the top. So all we do is just mix it around, okay? So the quantity of unwanted over the quantity of wanted events, okay? Now, a 6-sided die, and remember that die is a singular word for dice, which is plural, is rolled. Find the following odds. The odds in favor, okay? So when we're talking about the odds in favor, we're talking about the wanted over the unwanted. A number greater than 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, well the odds in favor is 2. And the odds against would be everything else, which is 4. And when we reduce that fraction, we get 1/2, and that equals 0.5. Okay, so this is just a little different because we're not doing your total, you're doing the options you have for it and the options you have against it, and that's it. Okay, so let's take a look. For the next one, we're doing the same thing. Odds in favor of rolling a number less than 6. Okay, well the numbers that are less than 6 are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we have a total of 5 chances of getting the number that we want, and then the 6 is all by itself. And the way that we would say that, I forgot the way to say it, I'm sorry guys. For this one we would say 5 over 1, that the way to say that would be 5 to 1 odds, and this would be 1 to 2. Okay. Alright, let's take a look at the next ones. Odds in favor. Okay, so we're still talking about odds in favor of rolling a 4. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's only 1 4. Okay, but how many against do you have? 2, 3. There are 5 numbers against that, so you only have a 1 to 5 chance that that's going to happen. Okay, now we're talking about odds against, and that's where we want the unwanted on the top and the wanted on the bottom. So a multiple of 2. Well, the multiples of 2 are 2, 4, and 6, but I want the odds against that. So against it would be the odd numbers. And there are 3 chances for it, and there are 3 chances against it. So if we were to reduce that, it's 1 over 1 or 1-to-1 odds. Okay? Mr. Grice is forgetting to circle his answers. Okay? So now the next one, it's odds against. So copy that so I know what we're doing. Our unwanted over our wanted. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Odds against rolling the 6. So everything against that, our unwanted, would be 5. And the wanted would be the 1. Okay? So 5 over 1, which is 5 to 1. And that's it. Alright, let's look at example number 4. Number 4 says the population of Blue Island High School is 1,035 students. The number of male students attending the school is listed in the table below by grade level. Use the table to answer the following questions. So, let's take a look. Now, a lot of these things have totals on the side and totals on the bottom. And what we're supposed to do with that is add your totals going across and tell me what those are. Okay? And then once you're done with that, I want the totals going down. Okay? So all you have to do is add those numbers up. So I'm going to let you pause the video and come up with those on your own. Okay, that's what you should have gotten. So, question A. If a student is chosen at random, what is the probability that the student is a female? Okay, so we're talking probability of getting the female. Now, probability is your want over the total. So, that's what we want, the female, so that's 535 over our total, and the total it told us right up here was 1,035. Okay? Now, can we reduce it? You bet we can. Okay? 535 over 1,000, or 1,035. Okay? 107 to 207. So we could write that as 107 over 207 or 107 to 207. Okay? Another way we could write that would be as the decimal, which would be 0.51 or 0.52. Okay? Either one of those works. Okay? Next one. If a student is chosen at random, what is the probability that the student is a male in grade 11? Okay? So what's the probability that we're going to get a male in 11th grade? Okay? So our want would be 130, once again, over the total of 1,035. Okay? And now all I want right now are the odds. Okay? So on your calculator, do 130 over 1035 as a fraction. Oh, you get 26,207. Not very likely that that's going to happen. Okay? C. If a student is chosen at random, what are the odds in favor of selecting a female? Okay? So, odds in favor are wanted goes on the top, which would be 535, and our unwanted goes on the bottom. Okay? And then just do that on your calculator. 535 over 500. Put it as a fraction, and that's 107. 107 to 100. Okay? And now if a student is chosen at random, what are the odds against selecting a male? Okay? So now we're doing odds against. So unwanted goes on the top. The unwanted, well, if we want a male, our unwanted would be a female. And so our wanted would go on the bottom. Okay? So it's very important, and guys, I'm already writing this because that was what our last one was. Okay? Now, I know that some of this odds against and odds in favor can be a little tricky. Probability is kind of straightforward, but if you need any assistance, come see us. Ms. Carranza and myself would love to help you. Okay? But that's going to be it for Algebra 1, Chapter 13.2 notes. As always, if you have any questions, come and find us. Thanks for watching.